Hey guys, it's Deborah, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited to know my TiVo friends are standing by, and all of my Kids Who Care class, resident company friends, and their friends too, whoever wanted to join us, because what we're doing is a relaxation. So right now, if you're just starting to tune in, you haven't missed anything, because here's the deal. To do this, you need your shoes off. So I took my shoes off, my cute red tennies. So you take your shoes off. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and take your shoes off, because at the end of the day, you're going to need to do that in a moment, all right? And hopefully you're somewhere that you have some room to lie down, because we're going to start off standing, but then in a few moments, as you might think with the relaxation, I'm going to ask you to lie down. So look around you and make sure that you've got space to lie down wherever you are without bonking your head on something. All right, so you're going to be able to lie down. And I've got Kermie here, for those of you who love Kids Who Care and know us. Kermie and Elmo are here, and his duck friend. So we're all here. And so this will be our regular rhythm when we don't get to be in the building together. We get to invite all our friends to do what we do every week at Kids Who Care, which is the relaxation that is an extension of what I learned in college through Arthur Lessak's training. It's for really producing great sound, but it just creates a great energy of relaxation and energy. And so we're going to finding that balance today. So this is Arthur Lessak's, Deborah Jung's version of Arthur Lessak's relaxation. Okay? All right, we always start the same way, and that's with the stance. And you're going to love the stance for those of you who don't use it, because we're going to finish with the stance. It brings you right back to this relaxation and energy together that you can use in other places as well. So what you do is you start with your feet comfortably apart. So right now my toes are straight forward, and they're really right underneath my shoulders. So they're not together. They're comfortably apart, like a column in a building that's holding the roof on, a nice column. Your legs are creating a nice column, all right? So they're comfortably apart. For those of you that are ballet people, there's no turnout with this. Your toes are straight forward, all right? So look and check them. I always check mine as well. Then the next thing are your knees. So you're going to shake out your knees, because one of the habits a lot of us have is to lock our knees into place, and you cut off the circulation. So your knees are going to be nice and loose. So whether you've done this a million times or this is the first time to do it, just shake your knees out, and I will continue to remind you to keep your knees loose, okay? So they're nice and loose. And then your hands are loose. So they're just hanging next to you at your sides. They're nice and loose. And the next thing up is your shoulders. When you get tired or stressed, there's lots of stress right now. When you get tired or stressed, your shoulders creep up. So your homework is tonight, when you go to bed, when you lie down, if your shoulders are sort of up, it's because you're stressed. So just push them down, all right? So you push your shoulders down, which means your shoulders are away from your ears, all right? Pushing away from your ears. And then your head is on straight. It's like you're a marionette. Some of you may not even have ever seen a marionette. So it's a puppet on strings. And there's a string right here at the crown of your head holding your head on straight, okay? So your chin isn't down and your chin isn't reaching up. It's right in the middle, nice and easy. So you should be able to easily look to your right and look to your left, and your chin isn't dipping. It's on the same plane as what we say, all right? So your head is on straight. Then when you get all of this lined up, what you're going to do is take a deep cleansing breath, which means you're taking in a breath through your nose, not your mouth. And by deep, it's really deep, as if you're smelling something wonderful. So the best way I can describe it is to imagine something you love to smell. So gardenias or chocolate cookies coming out of the oven, or a lovely cup of coffee. You're smelling the coffee. Or your favorite perfume on someone else even. So think of something, really literally think of something that you love to smell. Right now, think of that. If there's somebody in the room with you, turn around and tell them. So I'm going to tell my cameraman, Dexter John, what I love to smell. So Dexter, a fresh cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So tell the person next to you or say out loud for yourself what you love to smell. And now imagine you're smelling that. Take in a deep cleansing breath through your nose and smell it. And then release, 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 release. So when the air comes out, you're going to take in this deep breath, fill up all of this. It's going to expand. And as you release it, instead of just blowing the air out quickly, it's this nice, gentle, slow release, release, release. And I like to also remind you it's letting go of something. So somebody said something to you that sort of irritated you, some little ding, or something you're worried about, something you're stressed about. What happens is when I say release, 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 you see this thing that's stressing you, it's just floating away, floating away, floating away. And I'll even say to you, sometimes release, but sometimes I'm going to say, let it go, let it go, let it go. I'll cue you to remind you that you're letting go of all that stress. And so these deep breaths fill up here. And another day, we'll talk a little bit more about that, all right? For right now, think of something you love to smell. Let's practice that one more time. Take in a deep, cleansing breath. And release, 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 release. And if your eyes are open and you're watching me, what you may have noticed is I closed my eyes. So in a moment when you lie down, then I'm going to suggest you close your eyes. For some people who've done this for years, closing their eyes doesn't feel comfortable. So that's okay, leave your eyes open. If you can close your eyes, it just allows you to just release whatever's around you and just be able to completely meditate, completely relax, right? The other thing I'll say to you is when I ask you to lie down in just a moment, if lying down flat with your feet out makes you uncomfortable, you can always adjust that to bending your knees. So your feet are flat on the floor, but your knees are bent, and that protects your back. Either way, you're going to get the relaxation, okay? All right, so what we've covered is a deep cleansing breath. So let's do one. Take a deep cleansing breath through your nose. And release, 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 release. Okay, got it? You have all the tools you need. Now what you're going to do is find a place to lie down on the floor, all right? I'm going to stay standing so I can keep talking to you. And if you get a little confused, remember just to open your eyes and watch, okay? So now you're going to lie down on the floor. So lie down. Kermie's going to lie down, right? So you're going to lie down on the floor, okay? Kermie's going to be right over here. So you're going to lie down on the floor. And now I'm going to talk you through what is exactly like what you did standing, but now you're lying down. So you're going to do the exact same thing you did, and we call that the stance, but now you're lying down. Hopefully your shoes are off. So if you've just joined us, make sure you're taking your shoes off, okay? That's the first step to doing a great relaxation. And the reason you don't want your shoes on is it locks your knees. You don't want to lock your knees. You want your knees nice and loose, okay? All right, so now you're going to lie down, okay? And I'm going to start talking to you about your feet, which is where we started when you were standing up, okay? So you're lying down. Your feet are comfortably apart. So your feet aren't close together touching. They're comfortably apart. And your toes now are pointing to the ceiling. It's just like you're standing, but you're lying down on the ground. So your toes are pointing to the ceiling. What's going to feel more natural for a lot of you is that your feet fall out. And that's not really wrong, but if you do this with us enough, eventually your feet will start to learn, my toes are going to point to the ceiling. but it's nothing to worry about, just something to work toward, okay? So your feet are comfortably apart. Your toes are pointed to the ceiling. Nice. Now think about your knees. And you're lying down now, but shake your knees out just to remind your knees to relax. Don't want them locked. And now your palms are facing down. So your arms are next to you just like when you were standing. And your palms are down. Okay? And now your shoulders, this is really cool. So now check and see where your shoulders are. If you're tired or stressed, your shoulders start to creep up. So just imagine you're pushing your shoulders down. You're pushing them away from your ears, okay? And then your head's on straight. So your chin isn't reaching to the ceiling and it's not down on your chest, it's right in the middle. When you were standing up, you looked to your right and then you swiveled your head around and you looked to your left. You're gonna do the exact same thing. So you're going to look to your right of you and then pull your head back around to center and then look to your left. And that's going to help you know that your chin is right in the middle, okay? So we call it that your head is on straight. And now this is going to feel really good as you're lying here. Also, again, think about something you love to smell. Imagine you're smelling it. Think specifically, it's not generic. It's not generic. It's very specific. Think of that thing. Now take a deep cleansing breath through your nose. And release, 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 let go. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes if they're not already closed. And I'm also going to say if that bothers you, it's no problem. And I'm also reminding you, if your back hurts with your legs all the way out, to just bend your knees and your feet are flat on the floor, but you've built kind of a tent with your knees, okay? Okay, so now we're going to start. It's just going to be lovely. There is a warm ball of energy that's going to start in your toes. And as it moves through your body, it relaxes each part of your body. It's warm and it's light and it's full of energy. Imagine a cat that's very relaxed but could spring in an instant. It's that kind of energy. It's not sleepy or hypnotic or heavy. It's buoyant and bright and full of energy. So just think about your toes. Just your toes. And this warm ball of energy that begins to move into your toes and into your feet, relaxing your feet so they become very, very light and full of energy. This warm ball moves through your ankles and begins to move up your legs, past your knees. Remind your knees by shaking them a little bit that they're loose. Past your knees into your thighs, the tops of your legs. So now your legs and your feet are very, very light and full of energy. So light, it's as if they could float. And you take in a deep cleansing breath through your nose, smell something wonderful, and release, 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 release. This warm ball of energy begins to move into your fingertips. You feel it in your hands, warm and bright and full of energy. You feel it move past your wrists, and it begins to move into your arms, past your elbows, all the way up to your shoulders. So now your hands and arms and legs and feet are very, very light and full of energy. So light, it's as if they could float. And you take a deep cleansing breath through your nose. And release, 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 release. This warm ball of energy starts in the small of your back, way down at the base of your back. Begins to move up your back one vertebrae at a time, all the way up your back, between your shoulder blades and up the back of your neck. So you feel tall. It's like there's a string from your heels to the crown of your head, and you feel tall and light and full of energy. So light, it's as if you could float. And you're thinking of something you love to smell, and you take a deep cleansing breath through your nose and you fill your body. And you release, 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 release. So relaxed, it is as if you're lying on the sand on a beautiful beach. The sand is under your hands. You can feel it. It's warm and a little wet. And you feel the sand completely supporting you. You feel it under your shoulders and holding up your head. You feel it under your back and under your legs, and it's cupping the heels of your feet, and you are completely relaxed, but full of energy. You can hear the waves as they splash on the shore, as they roll in and roll out. And there's a seagull off in the distance. You can hear it. And the sun is so warm on your face. And you are completely relaxed, but full of energy. And you take a deep cleansing breath of energy. And release. Let go. Let go. Let go. So relaxed, it is as if the sand had become a cloud, a big, puffy, white cloud that completely supports you. And ever so slowly, the cloud begins to lift you up. And easily you float up, completely supported by the cloud, easily floating up, and just above you, you see a beautiful bank of white clouds, and your cloud floats into the clouds, and you're surrounded by soft white. Gently floating up, completely supported, until your cloud lifts you up out of the clouds. And there's the sun, it's so warm. And a gentle breeze across your face and through your hair, and you are completely relaxed, but full of energy. And you take in a deep cleansing breath and release. Just float. And take in a deep cleansing breath and release. And ever so slowly, the cloud begins to let you down. And easily you float back down until you're resting comfortably on the sand. And you wiggle your fingers and your toes. And you take in a deep cleansing breath. And release. And now with your eyes still closed, I want you to gently roll over on your right side, bend your knees a bit. Your right arm will be a pillow. So you're on your side with your knees bent. Your right arm is a pillow. And just be still for another moment. Just be still. Paying attention now that you're breathing really deep. Your breaths are rich and full, and that when you release, you just take your time. Just enjoying the silence. And enjoying that you're not by yourself. There's a whole community of people now in this quiet, gentle, quiet place at the same time. And now, with your eyes remaining closed, just gently with your left hand, push yourself up to sit up with your feet crossed and your knees out. So now that you're sitting with your feet crossed, knees out, and your palms are resting on your knees or up, facing up, either way is great. And now as you're seated, from your tailbone to the crown of your head, you're sitting tall and you're light and you're full of energy. And so in this same place with your eyes closed, you think of something wonderful you love to smell, and you take a deep cleansing breath and release, 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 release. And now eyes closed, rub your hands together. Rub your hands together. And now place your palms over your face. And now take in a deep breath. And as you release, lower your hands and slowly open your eyes. Hi, guys. It's not over yet, though. That was lovely. So now, in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to stand, and you're going to go back to where we started. It's called the stance. And my Kids Who Care buddies that are watching either in Italy or Germany or Saudi Arabia or Fort Worth or LA, wherever you are, know this thing called the stance, Arthur Lessak's stance, and so it's going to feel really comfy. For those of you that it's new, cool, it's something new to add. So now what I'd love for you to do is to slowly stand, okay? And so I'm standing here with you, which is great, and a lot of our friends. And so now what you're doing is just the same way we started. So now your feet are comfortably apart. So I'm going to look down and, yep, my feet are comfortably apart. My toes are straight forward. Your knees are nice and loose. Your hands are loose, maybe even more so than before, right? You're not slumping. This is strong. You've got a strong core, but your hands are loose, knees loose. Your shoulders are down. Remember, they're away from your ears, and your head's on straight. So it's like this string, like a marionette string, right? Your head's on straight, not here, right in the middle. And now I want you, when you take this deep cleansing breath, to realize how full it is. All of this is going to expand. All right, so now take a deep cleansing breath. And release, 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 release. Nice. So that's the whole relaxation. And so I'm going to be coming back to you at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock on Monday through Friday. I'm going to keep coming back to you even though we can record this and we'll save this. But each day I'm going to come back so it's fresh. And there's also other things I'm going to teach you, like how does it feel for this to expand when you take a deep breath? So little tiny tools before we do the relaxation, or maybe after the relaxation, just short little tools. Here's the deal. You now know the stance. So tomorrow morning, if you're starting to get stressed, just go to the stance. You know, feet comfortably apart, knees loose, hands loose, shoulders down, head on straight. Take a deep breath, because here's the deal. Your brain has kinesthetic memory, and it's going to remember the beach and the cloud instantaneously, okay? All right, so I'm Deborah Jung with Kids Who Care. This is the relaxation that I learned when I studied at Trinity University. It's Arthur Lessak's Use and Training of the Human Voice, if you want the textbook. Arthur Lessak. And I've been doing this for 42 years or so with kids and adults, and it just works. It just works. So I'll be back here at 4 o'clock on Monday. I'll be back here, and we'll do it all next week. So maybe on Monday I'll tell you how the weather here is here in Fort Worth, all right? I want to thank my friends at Kids Who Care for reaching out to everybody right now so we can restore ourselves daily. I want to thank my cameraman, Dexter Adolph Jung III, and some of you know him. If you don't, you need to meet him. I also wanted to thank Kermie. He was still relaxing, Kermie, right? And Elmo's with us and all those things that make us feel like the world's going to be fine. Because guess what, guys? It is. Okay, here's from me to you. And by the way, we're going to finish this the same way every time. And Kermie, you know this phrase. So if you don't know it, you're about to learn it, all right? From City Kids to Kids Who Care, we learned this a long time ago. So, cameraman, you can repeat this after me. Are you ready? So the first line is, keep a positive thought.
Keep a positive thought.
Because a positive thought.
Because a positive thought.
Cannot be denied.
Cannot be denied.
And then you hit it with peace.
Peace.
All right, guys. Love you. See you later.